After 9 long months, the mystery returns. Everything is fine. The crazy cat-headed people have returned with even more mystery, even more horror, and even more cat-headedness. So before seeing what's gonna happen in Season 2, let's take a look back to remember what happened in Season 1 of Everything is Fine. We start our story in the Wilkerson family residence, with loving couple Sam and Maggie and their lovely pet dog Wilson. But things aren't as they seem in the Wilkerson residence, or the neighborhood, or the world, as not only is everyone wearing these massive cat heads, but everyone is in a weird state of pretending everything is fine. Oh, that's the name of the Webtoon! Now it makes sense. Our citizens, from our main characters to the neighbors to the police, and everyone in between, simply pretends that everything is fine. But unsurprisingly, it's not. There are hints that everything isn't as peachy as they'd like you to believe. Not only are there strange moments between Sam and Maggie, Sam begging Maggie to forget, to move on, to play the part, even if it means to pretend that their dog is alive and not rotting on the ground. Like I said, not everything is as it seems. There are cameras in the supermarkets and on every street corner. Just about everywhere there are ways to monitor people. From the Wilkersons to their neighbors, the other couple, Bob and Linda. No, not the Bob's Burgers people, who are really good at acting like your typical happy couple who run the PTA or something like that. To Charlie, the lone neighbor who's very much not that. After a chance meeting, Bob and Linda invite the Wilkersons and Charlie over for dinner. And while at first Charlie didn't want to go, wanting to quote-unquote play with his trains in the basement, he is otherwise convinced when his left eye suddenly turns red. Almost like someone starts to listen in, or record them, or show them something truly horrible. Anyways, after whatever that is, it convinces Charlie to join the party. And after Sam encounters someone who's seemingly living outside the community, a red status member, and a dead dog, the dinner party starts, which feels like the weirdest sitcom episode ever. Like you can plug in a laugh track anywhere and I think it'll work. Bob and Linda explain that they need to stick together, that Lakeview, a high-class town up in the north, value honest, friendly, and loyal people. And how do you prove your loyalty? All depends. At least on how fast you want to get in. A good way to show your loyalty is by, spying on your neighbors while they're in the bathroom and have a secret encoded conversation about trains in the basement. And when they have said secret meetup to talk about trains in the basement, you call the police on them, causing them to see what's actually in the basements, getting them in deep trouble and causing one of them to become a red status member. Just as an example, let's say. After Linda snitches on Charlie, Maggie kind of goes insane, forcing herself to forget about the pain, about the suffering, about the weird dystopian future she's living in. But she can't repress the memories, the suffering, or what they took from her. Not only her life, but the children. And then it all clicks. There are no children. How do they keep everyone in check? How do they keep everyone playing the game? It's simple. You keep their children hostage. Maggie tries to forget, but she couldn't. So she decides to go all in, breaking into Charlie's old house, finally going into the basement, where she finds a book, Science 101, with a picture, a drawing, of a little girl holding her father's hand while her mother watches from heaven. An image of the Harrison family. Mother unknown, Charlie, and daughter Charlotte. But it's the book that holds the key. A bookmarked page reveals the Faraday cage, a way to block electromagnetic fields using aluminum foil. Perhaps a way to block a tracking or listening device. Maggie goes all in, getting the aluminum foil from Judy, a helpful stranger who knows how to disguise her conversations a little too well, also giving helpful advice to Maggie, and sending her on her way. Maggie then, in secrecy, covers her entire basement in aluminum foil to create a Faraday cage in her basement. But nothing gets past old nosy Bob and Linda, who yet again rat out Maggie to Officer Tom, the oh-so officer who helped Charlie with his new way of life. But things don't go easy for Officer Tom this time, as Maggie is fully ready to carve up a turkey, killing Tom in the basement Faraday cage. Maggie fills Sam in on what's happening and how they should move forward. And while Tom is scared, he agrees, because he loves his wife and his son. So Sam dresses up as Tom, you know, the dead officer, goes over to Bob and Linda's house, plants some evidence, and then we see that even Bob and Linda have their own Faraday cage and are ready and willing to sell out their neighbors to get up to Lakeview. However, what they weren't expecting was that Sam and Maggie plant the dead body of Officer Tom in their basement. While it was incredibly close, the Wilkersons managed to call the police on them. And while they try their best to get out of it, Bob and Linda are designated to red status. And we see exactly what they see as they watch their children plummet to their death, unable to do anything to save them. While the Wilkersons manage to get out scot-free, getting to replace Bob and Linda at Lakeview. But as they're leaving, we see what would have happened if they stayed just a little bit longer, as block after identical block have been burned down, and they were next on the schedule. And as they head up to Lakeview, we get one last shot of Judy and Charlie, with Judy saving Charlie's life and Charlie joining the rebellion. And as season 2 closes out, we're introduced to the lovely people of Lakeview, including the wife of Officer Tom, the mayor of Lakeview, Laura. And we end the season the same way we started off at the beginning, with the sun shining, the birds singing, and like every other day, everything is fine. Which is where season 2 picks up earlier this week. But that's all for today. So make sure to check out Everything is Fine, updating once a week on Webtoon. And like always, thank you for watching and take care.